When I go back to my journals from those days, I see the words I was saying again and again, and I was only repeating my reality instead of believing and speaking out hope and belief and life over our situation. I just kept repeating the reality of not enough money, missing each other, not really communicating, and stuck. I was consumed with those defeating thoughts instead of being solution-oriented. I'm Kimberly, and this is the Renewed Mama podcast, where you can take some time for yourself to slow down, breathe, and check in with your thoughts, the words you are saying, your parenting approach, your communication, and your marriage, so that you can keep going instead of growing weary, so that you can find joy even in the crazy and keep living abundantly. It's time to renew. You know, we can try to cover up a lot of things, like the bags under my eyes that I still blame on the puppy, or adult acne. I spent years trying to cover up my acne until I finally found what works for me. I can cover up the chocolate ice cream I snuck when the kids weren't watching, as long as I buy more. But I can't cover up what comes out of my mouth, what I say. Can you? The truth is that your mouth tells what's in your heart, and what is in your heart is going to come out of your mouth. Just think of all the politicians and elite this past year or so who have shown their true colors. Things they have said, either in letting it slip or on purpose, have revealed their true heart and the agenda behind all of this. You might cover up or look good on the outside for a little while, but just as soon as you get frustrated or stressed, it comes out of your mouth because it's in your heart, meaning it's been in your thoughts. As a young mom, when I clued into this and stopped long enough to evaluate the words I was speaking, I realized that while I loved my children to the moon and back, when I felt frustrated, overwhelmed, not good enough, like I was failing, out came words that were critical, judgmental, impatient, and mean. I passed my frustration and overwhelm onto my children with my words. All because I wasn't controlling my thoughts. I was being critical and judgmental to myself in my own thoughts. What was going on in my heart was coming out in my words. Just consider being arrested. If you were to be arrested, the arresting officer has to state your rights to you, one of them being the right to remain silent. Why? If you do not remain silent, whatever you say can be held against you. And in a confrontation such as being arrested, you can accuse yourself by too much talking. The arresting officer has to remind you to keep your mouth shut. If you do say something, he could use it against you. Your words speak what you are, who you are, and will either condemn you or justify you. So let's talk about what we are saying out loud again and again, because being a renewed mama means that we don't have to cover up what is in our heart and in our thoughts. As we renew our mind and think on what is true and good and right, as we talked about in episode 10, the words we speak come out as good, true, and right. The words we speak will reflect what is already going on in our thoughts and in our heart. If you need help with what's going on in your thoughts, if you want to change some stinking thinking, listen to episode 10, Your Thoughts Are a Pretty Big Deal. And download the free What's in Your Word Bank guide by visiting speaklifebadges.com, What's in Your Word Bank. This guide will help you to evaluate your thoughts and figure out what is the truth you should be thinking. The words you speak again and again are powerful in two ways. Death and life are in your tongue. Whoa, let that one sink in. Death or life is in your tongue. That's a strong statement, but it's true. We are living in a day and age of speaking your mind, lots of experts, keyboard warriors, and fake news. But do they know that death and life are in their tongue too? Death and life are in the power of the tongue. He who loves it will eat the fruit of it. The words you say bring about death or life. Death or life over your circumstances, your work, your health, your children, your spouse, your church, your city, your nation. What fruit are you eating? This is serious stuff, yet I've got to ask you, are you watching what you are saying? I think we can all say no, not all the time. Maybe every once in a while when we've got little ears listening, at church of course. But behind closed doors, when the going gets tough, when stress and frustration comes, conflicts, when we can't see eye to eye, we just let our tongue fly. Am I right? Words of death are condemning, judgmental, critical, putting others down, lying about them with the intent to harm, to wound, and to demean. There is no belief here, no calling a person up to something better, no consideration of a person learning and growing and being on their own journey. Words of death are the rotten fruits that have overripened and fallen on the ground and been trampled on. Ever feel trampled on by the words spoken over you? Don't eat from that fruit, mama. Words of life speak promise, good, blessings over others to build them up, to encourage and to inspire them to keep going. Words of life are ripe, juicy, fresh, yummy fruits right off the vine, ripened by the sun and ready to enjoy. Nutrient-rich, sweet to the taste, delicious, life-giving. Remember, death and life are in the power of the tongue. He who loves it will eat the fruit of it. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. What words do you love and want to feast on? Of course, we all say words of life, but don't listen or watch through this whole podcast episode and not pause to really evaluate what words you are actually speaking again and again. What category do they fall in? Words of death or words of life? Be honest with yourself. Mama, once your words go out, you cannot call them back. Let me give you an example. We used to have beanbag chairs, and I used to say, "Don't pop those," imagining the mess that would be everywhere. Well, what if one of your children took that beanbag chair and popped it outside and let all the beanies fly away in the wind? Out comes the angry sister to whom the beanbag chair belongs. She's furious and insists on having all the beanies put back in. It would be impossible to pick them all back up now. They flew everywhere. That is how your words are. Once your words are out, regardless of whether they are speaking life or death, you can't call them back. Even if you tried to apologize or cover it up, they were still spoken and still revealed your heart. You put the words out there, now you are responsible for them. No one else is responsible except you. And even when you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings," is that really true? Or you wouldn't have said it in the first place. You said it because that is what came out of your heart. That is what you felt in your innermost being. It is better to stay in control of your tongue and to use your words you have to speak wisely. If need be, bite your lip and don't say a thing. If need be, pause and consider what is the best thing to say in the moment that benefits the hearer, brings restoration, or builds them up. If need be, stay quiet until you are in faith and can speak out life and belief over your situation. You are in control of the correct use of your tongue. Are you using it to speak death or to speak life? The opening of my mouth will produce right things. I bless people and only curse those things that steal, kill, and destroy, as in John 10:10. If there is one gift that you could give your children today, it would be your words, chosen carefully and spoken well. The words you speak today are like seeds planted in their hearts and minds. These word seeds will sprout and bear fruit in their life as they grow and become adults. Use Speak Life badges, sticker award badges, along with suggested scripts or words you can say in the situations you encounter with your children. These scripts are designed to help you to speak to your child's individual personality, to break lies they may be believing, and to help them to grow up with a truth-filled mindset. Get them today at speaklifebadges.com. Also, your words steer your life. What you say will be established for you. What you say is what you get. Have you ever looked at your life with a bird's eye view and said, "Whoa, how did I get here?" Or, "I had such high hopes, now nothing is turning out the way I planned." I've been 10 years now in the same job. How did that happen? Do I want to be doing the same job for the next 10 years? I remember saying, "Whoa, how did we get here?" We'd been married for 7 years. We lived in a beautiful house in a great neighborhood with really high property taxes. We were just getting by, paycheck to paycheck. We didn't even have enough money to buy a can of paint to repaint a bedroom. We had our first baby. We were struggling in our marriage. I remember 2 ladies came to my door and asked me how they could pray for me, and all I could say was for peace in the world. But I was broken. I was lost. I was like, how did we get here? But I wasn't going to open up and share with strangers what I really wanted them to pray for. I wanted a better marriage, better communication, more money to pay the bills, more joy. When I go back to my journals from those days, I see the words I was saying again and again, and I was only repeating my reality instead of believing and speaking out hope and belief and life over our situation. I just kept repeating the reality of not enough money, missing each other, not really communicating, and stuck. I was consumed with those defeating thoughts instead of being solution-oriented. There's gotta be a way out of this. There's gotta be a solution here. So again, I remind you that what you say is what you get. What you focus on, you will get more of. Stop and think about what you have been saying or thinking. You have been speaking your life into existence. When we were children, we were taught to be kind with our words and to say nice things to others. What we weren't taught is what you say is what you get. In other words, be very careful with what you say because it will be established for you. What you think on again and again becomes what you say, and what you say will become your reality. Your words today speak out tomorrow's reality. God told Abraham, then named Abram, that he would be a father of many nations when he was 100 years old and childless. And Abraham believed the Lord. He couldn't see it yet. He even asked, "Will a child be born to a man 100 years old? And will Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child?" His laughter was one of delight, not of distrust. God called it out. He spoke it out. What was not yet, as though it was for Abraham. "Sarah, your wife, will bear you a son, and you will call his name Isaac." God speaks of non-existent things as if they already exist. God is still doing the same today. God gives life to the dead and calls into being that which does not exist. And you can too through your faith in God's promises found in the Bible. Faith calls it done before it can be seen. Call it as though it is before your natural eye can see it, before it becomes your reality. You don't have to see it to believe it. Let's turn this insight into action. If you need help evaluating your thoughts and the words that you are saying again and again, and figuring out what is the truth you should be thinking instead of the lie, download the free What's in Your Word Bank guide by visiting speaklifebadges.com. What's in Your Word Bank. Remember that death or life is in your tongue. Which one are you thinking and speaking? You get to choose because you are in control of your thoughts and the words you speak. Choose well. Also remember that your words steer your life. Where do you want to go? And what words do you need to speak to believe to get you there? What you think on again and again becomes what you say, and what you say becomes your reality. Is this a help to you? Would you let me know? Record a testimony or a question by sending a voice message using the recording app found on the main page of speaklifebadges.com. I would love to share your testimony and answer your question on the podcast. I want to hear from you. Stay tuned for a very special episode, number 12, that you can watch with your children. Remember how I said that as kids we were taught to be kind with our words and to say nice things to others? But were you taught to check your words to see if you were telling a lie? How do you know that what you are thinking and saying is the truth or is a lie? In episode 12, I'll share how to know in a fun way that is just right for your children to watch. I use 2 lies as examples. It's too hard, I can't do this, and I don't belong. You'll learn 7 questions to ask yourself to break off lies. You'll learn how to keep truth rooted in your heart and mind so that you act in full confidence and become who you were meant to be. There is also a fun activity sheet that you and your children can color and fill out while watching the video. Stay tuned for episode 12. Hit the like button and subscribe. If you like this episode, would you leave a review and share it with 3 friends? This will help more mamas find the podcast so that they can be encouraged and renewed too. Lots of love. I'll see you next time. Bye.